Opportunities missed, blunders made, where to from here? That's in today's episode of Backstage Pass. Well, another hard lesson learned this week is the Vodacom Bulls backed up an uncharacteristically poor performance against Leinster last week with a disastrous second half in Galway and ultimately succumbed to Connacht by 34 points to 7. What made this loss particularly difficult to swallow was the fact that we were the better team on the park in that first half. We were dominant physically, our lineup was functioning. We started off like a house on fire when starting quickly has been an issue that's plagued this team going back to the Carling Curry Cup. Zach Berger makes a break. Lizo Gqoboka crashes over and scores the try. Our defense was quick and in their face. It was energetic. It wasn't lethargic like it was against Leinster. But we come out in the second half and Connacht scored 2 quick tries in quick succession, similarly to how Leinster scored 2 quick tries at the beginning of last week's game. And in those conditions, on those heavy fields and with the rain pelting down, it becomes particularly difficult to fight your way back when you're more than 2 converted tries down. We knew how these boys were going to play. I highlighted it last week. They like to stretch the field. They like to play 2-4-2, create those mismatches out wide with their 2 bigger forwards against smaller backs. But we prepped for it. We selected a big back 3. We had Combrink, Jacobs and Hendricks, all men that are about 100 kgs. They have no issue putting their head down and making their tackles, and they were able to keep those Connacht outside backs in check for those first 40 minutes. So what does Connacht do? They switch gears, they come out and they play up the guts, narrow, close to the ruck, and once they get us back pedaling, then opportunities arise for guys like Hansen, and we couldn't handle that kind of tempo. Now, there's been a lot of talk about the refereeing, and I'm not one to bash the refs, but it would be remiss of me not to use this platform correctly. Now, I know that there's a discrepancy in interpretation between Southern and Northern Hemisphere, but there shouldn't be a discrepancy in terms of consistency, and I believe that the ruck was blown differently for the Vodacom Bulls than it was for Connacht. Now, that is most certainly not the reason we lost the game. Connacht were the better team on the night, but one call I do want to chat about was the lead up to Mac Hansen's try. Lizo Gqoboka was blatantly obstructed and prevented from making that tackle. And I'm not guaranteeing that he would have made that tackle had that lock not been there. We don't have the luxury of hindsight. But Lizo was robbed of his right to legitimately make that tackle. Now, I believe that there were more positives to draw out of this game than last week against Leinster, and that shows that there is some growth. Individually, I thought Marcel Coetzee was exceptional. I highlighted him last week. I tipped my cap off to him again. 26 tackles, 12 carries. He's now got 49 tackles in 2 games. That is what you call leading from the front, leading the physical charge. Shout out to Jacques van Rooyen, a tight head prop, making 17 carries, more than any other player on the park. I don't care who you are, that is workmanlike. In the backline, I want to specifically highlight Harold Forster. He ran some great lines, consistently broke the defense, shared tackles, and got us on the front foot. Let's chat about our opponents this Saturday. They lost narrowly to Ospreys, but it would be foolish to read too much into that. Ospreys are one of the best teams in the competition, and Cardiff did defeat Connacht 2 weeks ago, and that's a team we lost to. How does this team play? Well, Cardiff like to stretch the field. They like to play with width, and they love to play with tempo. And Thomas Williams is crucial to that. They're nuggety scrum half. He's electric around the fringes. He likes to get to the ruck, get the ball out, and that allows them to play wide, and to play with tempo. Their game plan's also predicated on their 2 big gain line merchants in midfield, Halo and Ray Lilo. And these 2 big boys are not just meat fridges in midfield that get them consistently over the advantage line. They also have an elevated skill set. So Forster or whomever's in midfield will need to be careful and cognizant of the fact that those offloads can get going and they can get behind our defense very quickly. And this takes me to our predictions, and I'm not going to make a prediction this week because I believe I've been jinxing our boys, but I would love us to really flex our muscles this weekend, impose ourselves physically. They've got that wide game plan. They play with tempo. They're going to want to speed things up and up the ante. In order to beat them, we need to slow things down. You have to look at Cardiff as a pretty V8 engine, and we need to land some hammer blows on Saturday. We need to take this game by the scruff of the neck and drag it kicking and screaming into the gutter. We need to make it ugly. So let's get behind our boys. Let's back them to get their first victory of this tour and turn this campaign around. I believe that they will. Thank you for listening. Make sure you comment below with your score predictions or whom you've been impressed by over the course of the last 2 weeks. I'll see you next week for another episode of Backstage Pass.
Jordan, give me the rock and I'm scoring. Hey, came from the bottom, that's foreign.